Marie, Director's Report.
Yeah, we've got a fairly long list here that Charlie prepared for me to read. At the council meeting on August 2nd, the council reappointed Commissioners Owens and Lutz and appointed former Commissioner Paul Germain and presented a proclamation of appreciation to former Commissioner Jennifer Brooke. So congratulations to all and welcome, Paul. They saw a study session on the design of Elevation 22 portion of the Greenway. In addition, Ignacio of Economic Development presented slideshow of before and after of various redevelopment projects in the city. They also approved a proposal to reduce the number of below-market units at the Pinnacle project from 20% to 10% in exchange for some of the units being low income. So the project will now have 18 moderate income and 5 low-income units. They extended the moratorium on medical marijuana dispensaries for another year. And they approved the Chiron's redesigned Hollis Green Park, this time without the perimeter fence. At the August 16th meeting, they heard an update on the design process for the Doyle-Hollis Park between Hollis, Doyle, 61st and 62nd Streets. This is also on our agenda today as a study session. The redevelopment agency approved issuance of a request for proposals for development of the northwestern portion of the block bounded by Powell, Hollis, 59th, and Doyle Streets. It's basically the same block as Elevation 22. An RFP will be considered by the agency in September. The council had their first reading of the ordinance pertaining to interpretation of building height and building intensity maps, where a lot is in 2 zones, and amending the definition of lot. This was approved by the Commission, if you remember, on the July meeting. The final passage is expected to go through on September 6th, and it will be effective October 6th. They extended the moratorium on demolition of residential structures for 1 more year. They also considered complaints by citizens of Pulte's construction trailers on the Greenway for the Glass House project. Pulte has made a deal with Mooney to use the Baker metal site now for construction staging. The general plan update meeting took place this Tuesday, and it included a panel discussion on urban design and open space. There were 3 panelists who spoke. The one was Claire Marcus of UC Berkeley, and she's a renowned open space planner. Elizabeth McDonald, again a professor at UC Berkeley, and John Ellis, he's the principal and open design director at Solomon. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but I understand from other staff members that it was a really good discussion and people were pretty inspired.
That it was.
The future topics for the panels will, in the next meeting, which will be in September 27th, would be on walkability and bikeability. In other news, we have the East Bay Bridge Arborist Report. The final report has been submitted by the city's arborist. The report finds that about 3 to 4% of the parking lots are covered by tree canopy as opposed to 25% as was required by the EIR. The arborist report recommends a pilot project of better tree planting techniques as in one of the parking lots. A copy of the report has been given to Catalyst, who are reviewing it with their arborist and are planning to fold it into a more comprehensive overhaul of all their landscaping. This issue is being tracked on the agenda by Community Preservation Task Force. We have a professor from the UC Berkeley, Professor Michael Southwood, who will lead a graduate-level urban design landscape studio focusing on Emeryville this fall. The students are coming to Emeryville next Wednesday, and they'll be meeting with Diana and Pat, and they will also tour the city. The entire class will study the whole city, and then the groups of students will focus on specific areas of interest to study in more detail and come up with design solutions. The studio will last through the end of October, and Professor Southwood has offered to have the students come and make presentations to the Commission. Any suggestions the Commission may have for specific areas for the students to look at would be welcome. Now the latest on the LMA projects. 1401 Park, as you know, the demolition of the slab is proceeding. The building permit is almost ready to be issued. It's pending a sign-off from Department of Public Works, and also the affordability agreement needs to be signed. So we are expecting this to happen, fairly soon, and hopefully in next month's meeting, the permit would have been issued. Regarding the 46th Street lofts, the demolition permit for the interior was issued last month, and encroachment permit for shoring to hold up exterior walls was issued last Friday, that's the 19th of August. LMA has agreed to a legal agreement to remove the shoring from public right-of-way if project stalls, and has put about $63,000 in an escrow account for this purpose. Shoring will block sidewalks on 45th and 46th Streets, but not Adeline. A partial set of foundation permit plans has been resubmitted in response to the city's comments. Doll Street condos, we are expecting a building permit submittal on October 1st. So that's about all I have for the report.
Joe?
On the arborist report, and Carol, this is going to come back to you, I'm sure you were expecting this. They've been out of compliance for many, many years. How are we, do we have teeth to get some trees into that parking lot?
You know, right now it's being handled by the Community Preservation Task Force, so it's within their purview, and yes, we do, but this was a joint powers project, so ultimately it would be within the jurisdiction of that body.
Okay. Yeah, I think, you know, I'm glad we got the report, but I think I, for one, this is just the start rather than, you know, completion, and I really want to hold their feet to the fire because it's been a long time on this.
Absolutely. Since we haven't had a chance to review the arborist report yet, is there any indication in the report in terms of the timeline for this testing, where they're going to test various tree types in the soil? Because I know there's a problem with contamination out there.
You know, I haven't reviewed
Okay.
the report, so I can't.
Because I agree with Joe. We need to keep the ball moving forward on this. And so I would hope that we can complete the testing and sampling within a timely period. But we're very happy to get the arborist report.
So the one thing I know that could tell us is that there is a proposal for revamping the entire parking lot, and so there is some indication that that addressing this issue will be taken care of as part of that landscaping plan. So that's all I know. Yeah.
If I can, and one of the things was there was always a question whether these were tilt-ups that were going to be tilted down within a certain period, right? Have we had any indication as to that happening, or?
I haven't heard anything like that.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Carol. Any other commissioner comments at this point in time? Okay, we'll move on.